I failed my fiancée's secret family emergency test so badly they almost ended the engagement, until the real emergency hit. 2 months after I proposed to Maya in the quiet of our apartment's tiny balcony, the same balcony where she grew basil and taught me how to keep a plant alive by giving it a name, ours was Finn, I learned that her family had a tradition that made me feel like a lab rat, a hidden, generational test for every partner who dared to show up and talk about forever. I was raised by a single mom in a quiet suburb where the most dramatic family ritual we had was debating whether pie should be served warm or cold, so the intensity of Maya's family was an education from day one. There was the first time I went to their Sunday dinner, the house smelled like caramelized onions and thyme, something in the oven was bubbling and spitting, and a half-dozen aunties were chopping with the rhythm of a drumline in a kitchen that had way too many magnets and not enough counter space. The walls were crowded with photographs, graduations, cookouts, prom dresses with satin gloves, thrice-held babies, that one picture of great Auntie Gemma laughing so hard she had to hold onto the fridge. I met her dad, who sized me up like a mechanic listening to a car, head tilted, eyebrows knitted, and then, surprisingly, a hug that thumped the top of my back. I met her mom, who asked if I took my coffee like a child, her phrase for with too much sugar, dear. I met her brother, who asked me a single question, do you know how to leave a party without making a scene? It was a joke, I thought. It wasn't. They were loud and tender and so collectively confident that when I went home after that first dinner, my apartment felt like a church after the congregation leaves, quiet and a little too neat. I didn't know yet about the group chat, or the test, or the internal grading system with categories like initiative, not making it worse, and a mysterious metric Maya's mom called quiet hands. I'm getting ahead of myself. The night the test erupted, I was coming over to Maya's parents' house with a pie from the bakery on Grant and 3rd and a bottle of non-alcoholic sparkling something because Maya's aunt was doing a month off booze and everyone was trying to be supportive but still festive. I texted Maya from the car, 5 minutes out. What's the plan? She replied, easy night. Board games, pizza. Bring your confident smile and an appetite. I parked on the street under a sycamore tree that had been shedding so vigorously it looked like it might crawl away from the curb on a blanket of its own leaves. The house lights glowed. Laughter spilled onto the porch. Maya met me at the door in a sweater the exact shade of green she says makes her eyes look like a cat's, and I kissed her and smelled rosemary and a hint of laundry detergent, and then a scream cut through everything like a blade. It came from upstairs, then the sound of something heavy hitting a wall, and someone yelled, call 911. The hallway became a panic machine. Aunties moved fast. Maya's dad went from relaxed to military. Maya's brother rushed past me with a wet towel. Bathroom, someone shouted. Get the door. Someone else yelled. A child's voice asked, is Nana okay? Someone's phone crashed to the ground and skittered under a shoe. I froze. I could feel the pie box in my hands, hot against my palm where the cardboard sat. My brain stopped being a brain and became static. I had, at most, a dozen scout badges of life competence, but none from this category. The scream came again, a sound that had shape. Maybe an injury. Maybe a seizure. I'm calling, I said, pulling my phone out. My hands fumbled the screen twice, 3 times, the way your thumb forgets how to be a limb when you're half asleep. I got it to my ear. What's the address? The operator asked after the tone. And I didn't know. I had been there 100 times, and I drew a blank. Henderson Street, the blue house with the, sir, what is the number? I stammered it out in a broken inflection the operator probably noted in a file as not useful. By the time I remembered fully, Maya's mother was at my elbow, taking the phone gently out of my hand the way you take a slippery glass from a child. I've got it, baby, she said. Someone ran past with a bowl of ice. I stood in the hallway holding a useless pie and felt like I had to apologize to the entire concept of adulthood. I hovered at the bathroom door as Maya and 2 aunties crouched around someone in the tub. Her grandmother, tiny and furious in her pain, clutched her knee. It was swollen and at an angle that made my stomach dip. Maya looked up and saw me, my face probably performing every emotion at once. It's okay, she said, like it was a fact, while she pressed the ice against her grandmother's knee with hands that didn't shake. In 10 minutes, the emergency flattened into something with tasks. Maya's dad got the front door propped. Her brother ran interference with the paramedics. A cousin distracted the kids. Someone had fixed the rug in the hallway that had bunched up like a trap. I stood in an island of air and sweat and felt my heart beat in my palms. The paramedics were calm, asked all the right questions, and within half an hour they had Nana on a gurney, scolding everyone for fussing. When the lights and noise receded like a storm moving off, I tried to apologize to the group at large, but the group had become a dozen little storm remnants cleaning. I found Maya on the porch, phone to her ear, telling a relative the plan. When she hung up, she leaned into my side. "You okay?" she asked. I nodded. "You were amazing," I lied. She laughed into my shoulder. "We're not tallying points right now." We ate pizza standing up in the kitchen, as if we were all waiting to be called to the front. People were gentle with me. Someone put a plate in my hand. Someone else offered me a summary of what had happened, a rug corner, a knee-like glass. But I was quiet. I went home and sat in my car a few extra minutes, the pie unopened beside me like a confession. The next morning, I woke up with a pit in my stomach. I texted Maya, "How's Nana?" She sent back a photo of a thumbs-up selfie from Nana in a hospital gown, hair in rollers, captioned, "Still pretty." Relief loosened something in my chest, and the pit became something else, a guilt that expanded in the space relief had carved out. That's when my best friend, Leo, texted me a screenshot. He was in a fantasy football league with Maya's brother and had been looped into a corner of their sprawling family communications web. The screenshot was of a message in a group chat titled Family Emergency Squad. The top showed a thread from the night before, and the messages didn't look like the chaos I'd witnessed. They looked organized. There were roles. There was a plan. And most shockingly, at the very bottom, someone had written, "Do we grade him?" I felt the screenshots like a stomach drop on a roller coaster. Leo followed up with, "Dude, I did not know what I was looking at. Are you okay?" The messages weren't cruel. They were practical and full of shorthand I didn't fully understand, but that line, "Do we grade him?" lodged under my ribs. I called Maya and, as gently as I could, asked her if her family graded emergencies. She was quiet for a beat. "I was going to tell you," she said. "Tell me what, exactly?" "There's a family thing we do," she said. "It's called a drill. 2 or 3 times a year, we run a fake emergency to see how everyone moves. It started when Nana took a spill years back and everyone freaked out and ran in circles and wasted minutes because nobody knew who was supposed to do what. It's meant to make us better. We're not sociopaths. We grew up with a lot of chaos. It's how my parents created some order. So last night was not a drill," she said. "That part you saw was real. But the system, the roles, the chat, that's part of the drills. And, yeah, when someone new becomes family, we see how they move under pressure. It's not like a secret vote on whether you can stay. It's more about where you'd be most useful if something goes sideways." Shame and anger got in a tug-of-war in my head. "Useful," I repeated, like the word was sour. She sighed. "I should have told you. But honestly, it's one of those things that sounds weird until you see it help. We don't all have the same childhood. In my house, we had a hurricane hit when I was 8. We had to get out in the dark and my uncle got stuck because someone thought he was downstairs. We're dramatic and loud about fun, and we're disciplined when things get scary. I didn't want to scare you away before you met the warm part of us." I looked out the window at my balcony plant, fin drooping because I'd forgotten to water. I thought about that hallway, the way everyone's instincts aligned like magnets. I thought about how mine had dissolved into static. I also thought about my mom, standing in our kitchen the night our old water heater burst, filling pots and shoving towels and calling the landlord while I sat on the counter watching the floor flood. She'd told me later, "There's no extra credit for panic." "I'm embarrassed," I said. "You're human," Maya replied. "And you're better than you think. You didn't block a doorway. You called. It wasn't perfect. That's okay. We're not doing pass-fail on you." "What's quiet hands?" I asked, because my mouth liked to pick fights when my brain was overwhelmed. She laughed. "It's something my mom says. It means your hands do the thing they're supposed to do, without making it about you. Like, if you're holding a head while someone pukes, your hands are steady and you don't narrate how gross it is." Cool, I said, my ears hot. Do you all talk about me in a chat?" "We talk about everything in a chat," she said. "Including ourselves."